Hello, everybody. We are here. We are ready to go. And I noticed for no reason I can adequately explain, the broadcasting software just broadcast the intro video to last episode anyway, even after I went through all the trouble of giving us a brand new intro video. So there's always something, and you gotta love it.
Oh yeah,
But,
yeah, yeah. If something wasn't going wrong, it wouldn't be back to basics.
you know, it at that it wouldn't be. And I'm already noticing
And
we're
this isn't really
having.
back to basics anyway, so there we go. This is whatever ridiculous name you gave this show, or
Yeah,
like,
I'm also noticing our video output is frozen for some reason. Wait, hold on.
cool.
Oh, no, we're back. Good. I have no idea why that was, but it's fixed. Excellent.
Hey,
There's always something I don't
moi.
understand happening, which is basically life. So, speaking of life, how is it?
It continues unabated despite my best efforts.
Well, you're currently living in that grand American hellhole. Lots going on
Yeah.
in the news lately, I've seen. I've obviously picked a few things that we can talk about today, which would have been obvious by the episode title, which, if it had posted correctly, you would have seen. But I want to start by asking you, like, what's going on that's caught your attention?
Well, uh,
Brace
I
for
shall talk
impact.
about America. I shall talk about America whilst eating a cheeseburger, as is the way of my people. So, so the rest of the world's a bit insane too. Bless Australia. And uh what was the name of the guy who jumped in and saved God knows how many people? What was it? Ahmed El Ahmed or something like that?
Something like that.
Like the most delightfully Middle Eastern name I've ever heard. And yeah, so we had this wasn't us, but it's nice. It's not nice when America things happen elsewhere, but yeah, some lunatic in I don't even want to say lunatic, some hateful ass bitch in
Mm,
Australia decided to open fire on Jewish people during Hanukkah. Fuck you, number
yeah.
one. And then two, uh unarmed, an unarmed Muslim father of multiple children snuck the F up on this guy and took him down like without a weapon. There are moments in time where I'm like, how does this not change everything? Sometimes they're bad, sometimes they're Trump on an escalator. Sometimes it's something like this, and I'm like, how does this not change like half the planet's minds
Yeah.
about whether or not we need to hate each other and like what we can do to be a good neighbor to everyone in the world? Because again, like, how can this not once and for all say, you know what? Not only do not all like Jewish people and Muslim people hate each other, but look at this shit. Look
You
at
know, you
someone
know,
laying their life on the line and successfully saving a bunch of people from a competing religion, like during one of their holy festivals. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put this out here too. And partly because I've been spending a lot of time with this guy and his material because of my doctoral work is focused partly on him. But a good man by the name of Fred Rogers, who we all know as Mr. Rogers, one of his most well-known comments when he came out of retirement to do a short video following the events of 9/11 for kids. Is where he really first put out the idea of look for the helpers, which is something I've always taken seriously.
Mhm.
It's central to what Mr. Rogers taught. It's central to the faith that he was a minister of, because a lot of folks don't realize he was on my team. He was a Presbyterian minister. It is
Presbyterian, that's right.
yeah, yeah. I'm not Presbyterian anymore. I'm technically RCA, but same general family. But but it's also like central to our faith. It's central to everything to focus on help, and not just in that look to the helpers because they're the people you want to emulate, but also like redefine your worldview based on who and where the kindness and the love is coming from. And right now, we live in a world where both Jews and Muslims are the subject of such tremendous amounts of hate. And it is a failure of anyone who watched Mr. Rogers to see something like this and then turn around and say that Muslims are the bad people or Jews are the bad people, because you had a white guy trying to murder worshiping Jews, and
Mhm.
a and I'm not sure if he's Muslim or not. I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, but definitely an Arabic guy, um, stepping in to save the day unarmed and at risk to his own life. Why are any of us still arguing that any of these minority groups are the bad guys? Um,
Mhm.
Mr. Rogers would be ashamed of you.
Mhm. Oh, Mr. Rogers would be hilariously ashamed of like this entire country at this point, but
Yeah.
here we are.
I imagine Mr. Rogers would probably have words for me about the words I use on my broadcast, but you know what?
Yeah, nobody's perfect.
Yeah, no, I always joke that I'm basically a sweary version of Mr. Rogers, which I'm pretty sure Mr. Rogers himself would find a contradiction in terms, but
I mean, you once called me the Mr. Rogers of pot smoking hippies, so
it is what it is. But yeah, that is very much the world that we are placing ourselves in right now, is one in which there is such an enormous amount of hatred and violence. And
it's absurd.
one of the things I honestly do wrestle with is the question of, was it always like this and we just didn't know because we were children? Was it always like this and we just didn't know because information distribution is so much greater now than it was than when we were younger and our parents' generations before us? Or has
That's amazing.
information distribution or availability or terrible ideologies driven up the violence?
I think it's probably a combination of all of them,
Hmm,
honestly, because like society does change with time, but also like people doing horrific things because they don't approve of like someone's identity.
yeah,
Been a minute. Like, I mean, I'm old enough to remember see, and I just had his name on the Matthew
Matthew
Shepard.
Shepard. Yep.
Yeah. I remember as a kid just being and this was still when I was in like a headspace where I thought that like it was against God to be gay. But I remember hearing about that and just being like, how could like it brings up Nazi comparisons because it's like how could any human being do that to another person,
Right.
especially who had done them no wrong?
Yeah. And my
Like
my own reaction to
so
that
people
back in the
people have
day.
been profoundly evil for a minute.
Yeah. And my own reaction back in the day was not dissimilar. It was a little bit more personal for me. I like to, because I'll say this definitively, aspirationally and not practically. I like to think of myself as being very much like Sir Patrick Stewart, in that I have often been mistaken for gay, but am almost destructively heterosexual. Um, which is the Patrick Stewartist thing to be. Um, but back in
I'm telling
the
you,
day,
the best straight dudes are the ones that are willing to like flirt with their guy buddies and aren't like overprotective of their masculinity.
how many
Shout out to
times
my
have I grabbed?
husband.
How many times have I grabbed your husband's ass? Yeah, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, no freaking kidding.
Yeah, no. But my point is, like, back in the day, this was back when I was in, I think, middle school or high school when Matthew Shepard's situation happened, and I still remember being utterly terrified because my first thought when I saw that they murdered him for being gay was, how did they know? Because I mean, I'm not, but I have at that point I had already been beaten 2 or 3 times for being gay, even though I wasn't. Just because I would occasionally wear like purple, or I played the clarinet, or I didn't meet standard definitions of masculinity. And I remember thinking, and this is relevant to the larger conversation we're about to have, like, there is a boundary line for heterosexual masculinity here that is much narrower than it should be, and it's definitely much narrower than I can fit into. And we're just killing everybody on the other side of it then. Like it's not even like it's I'd already taken some beatings for being gay and I wasn't gay and this guy was killed for being actually and he was. But
I mean,
which of course doesn't
I also
justify it.
remember the era where of the term metrosexual, which if you never heard that, say a quick prayer of thanks to God. The idea was, and your millennial friends can tell you about this, um, guys who exhibited some stylistic indications of homosexuality, but were straight. They would identify as metrosexual, like, I'm a sophisticated city guy, you know, has some real style and taste and class, but I'm not gay. Take a moment and realize that this is the straights, and your people have so much to answer for, Don. This is the straights,
I am a straight
saying,
white Christian male from the United States of America. The phrase "my people have things to answer for" because there's a lot of ground with me.
but I mean, it was straight people coming out and saying, "Hey, straight guys, they don't have class. To be a like acceptable, like a regular mainline straight man, that they was basically acknowledging like that you couldn't give a shit what you looked like. You couldn't exhibit a certain amount of, charm and deference just in your day to day. You couldn't like any positive trait, it seemed like. And it was to the point where like regularly and thoroughly grooming yourself was like, again, it got labeled metrosexual because it was treated as gay.
Now
Like,
I'm gonna
this is why men need feminism. I'm just
I'm gonna
gonna
say
just draw a line there.
I'm going to give you two points to that. One in support, one in against. One is I have legitimately encountered men in my life who believe that they should never wipe their ass because it's gay to touch a butt.
That's so
And
fucking gross.
yes, it is one of the grossest things I've ever encountered. And those are men whose hands I
Like,
would
that's
never
like
shake.
instructions on, well, and that's like instructions on how to get a girl to not want to fuck you. Just
Yeah,
throwing
that's
that
true.
out there. Like,
Weirdly successful guys like
not
that though,
just
which
not
always blew me
not to
away.
speak for all not to speak for all women who find men attractive here, but like, fucking ew.
Yeah.
Wipe your fucking ass.
Now, my other
Oh
piece though, because
God.
that's my piece in defense of what you're saying. My piece in opposition to it is I actually have a certain amount of love in my sense in my heart for that period where the term metrosexual was around because from the perspective of someone who was kind of ensconced in toxic masculinity and kind of fighting my way out of it because I was a heterosexual man in that period but also was being beaten up for not being a heterosexual man. Um
Hmm.
that term gave a lot of cover for gray area folk like me who were not gay, but also were bearing that a little bit. And it gave cover for some of the gay folk I knew to effectively put up a shield that kind of defended them from some of the violence where they could say, no, I'm just metrosexual. Like, and it created a transition period that then normalized a lot of the bullshit social attributes that we were using to define, well, he's gay, let's kill him, muddied the waters enough to make further tolerance more possible, if not easier. And that was again, your mileage may vary, your experience of that period may differ, but as a transitional step from let's kill the queers to okay, gay people are allowed to exist, metrosexual was not a place we wanted to stay, but it definitely did smooth that motion historically and socially, at least in my experience.
I mean, until we started backsliding down the hill like crazy.
Well, yeah, we've got that going on too, but
I can't say,
we had a
but
minute.
it's,
We had a minute.
again, if I might be an old for a moment, the fact that when I was in when I was in like grade school, just when I was in school, uh, fuck, up into like high school even, or a bit beyond, I would say, it was very, very normalized to call things gay as like a way of saying that they're stupid. which, in itself, calling something stupid, stupidity is the like like absence of knowledge and the desire for any, basically.
Hmm.
Okay, my TV doesn't have that. Like, stupid TV. All of this stuff is us using words to mean other things, but it very much was a thing to a degree that I don't think it is anymore. Like, I've been around kids these days, and like, I don't hear that. I mean, there's always there's always games online and stuff like that. I get that it
Yeah.
varies by environment, and that there are probably some environments in which it is even more ubiquitous to hear people using gay as like a way of saying like that sucks.
Mm. Now, I will say,
Um,
just in the interest of a nice little palate cleanser for a moment, in Japanese, the expression of kind of like mildly distasteful shock is ge,
mhm.
like GE with an exclamation point. It's not gay. But my for those of you who don't know, my sister is trans and is staying with us right now, and oh, we were having a conversation at dinner, and she was kind of nearby, and heard us heard one of us say "get" to something surprising, and was very confused. So I explained to her that no, they're not actually saying "gay"; they're saying "get," which is an exclamation in Japanese. And
It
she
just sounds
lost.
exactly like
Well, she lost her shit, and now anytime anyone something says something surprising, she'll walk into the room and go "yay!" It's just kind of hilarious. Because she's nothing if not, smashing of boundaries in that way, and I love her for it. But
she's
no, like
wonderful, and I'm glad she's on this earth. The world is better for having her in it, and I hope she hears
in
that. Please watch the show.
indeed. Um, but so that
Someone
said,
has to. I don't.
well,
I
we've
can't
actually
watch
got
my
we
own
got
show.
we got a
Oh,
fair few people on today. Like we chat's active. We've got 7 or 8 people on, so like we're doing good
holy shit.
today. Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
I
I
should
know
pull
we
up
have
the
this
chat.
we have this we have this mentality like we're constantly speaking to an empty room, but like we're actually not anymore, and it's
Yeah,
kind of cool. Um, but
we sometimes still are, so it's difficult.
yeah, there are days like there are days, but no, like j-
Seriously, people watching live right now. There's like a bunch of like how many do we have?
broadcast software is saying 7, YouTube is saying 6 or 7 depending on the moment, so not bad. Nice to see folk. Welcome aboard. Um,
Very cool.
as he said in the chat, saying came in and the first word I heard was "yay." It's like, yeah.
That you didn't miss much. That's a more pleasant summation of the discussion. The discussion was like gay but trauma, and yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah, and it's there is
we
something to be
meandered all over
said.
the place. We were supposed to be talking about Venezuela, but here
We'll
I
get we'll get there
am
in a
on
minute.
my own little rant.
Yeah, we'll get there in a minute. I do want to piggyback on the point you were making though, and kind of circle it back to what I was saying too about being not gay, but getting beaten up for being gay. And what a lot of people don't realize is that toxic masculinity has splash damage. Like folks on the inside of toxic masculinity, and I've talked with family members who've been on the inside of that too. Like you think you're laser locked on a single target, and you're not because your ability to identify that target is for shit, and you don't know it, and you wind up hitting just everybody nearby. Like it's basically like the men's room. Like you think you're aiming, but you're not. And you got to take it like take a step forward or shut off the pipe and take a step back, like because it's just it doesn't work. And I see you looking that way because you've never been in like a bar men's room, and let me tell you, oh my god. Or I should also say just a bathroom in a house with any males under the age of 15 is also an issue. um yeah, but basically no, it has literal splash damage. Like you think you're aiming and you're not, and it's just killing fucking everybody. um so yeah, oh hang on,
No,
what was that?
I think I can basically speak to the like cis femme equivalent
Hmm.
of this, which is on like cultural femme, I guess, equivalent.
Yeah.
It depend. Your mileage may vary, you know. Um, is What was the phrase you were using for it again?
Toxic masculinity, splash damage,
Yeah, the splash damage. You're talking about the terrible shit that dudes say to each other, right?
among other things. Yeah.
Like that is it. It's its own flavor in like female
Hmm.
spaces, but I hope it's better for girls now. I don't know. Female coded uh folks out there, let me know if it's better now. But the amount of like bitchy, backstabby, like gossipy, uh, social, uh, just juking and jiving you have to do to try and survive in female spaces is at least used to be fucking insane. Like girls are mean to each other in different ways than guys are mean to each other. The ways
Yeah.
guys are mean to each other are crazy fucking toxic. But like,
Yeah.
we fuck each other over in crazy ass ways too
Yeah. I
that I
obviously
will
can't.
never understand.
I obviously can't speak to it personally because aside from the obvious euphemism, I haven't really inhabited female spaces. But I, do have, a kid who occupies female spaces, and that is
Mhm.
given me a window, particularly here in Japan. It is especially,
Oh God.
ooh,
Oh,
it
where
is,
the social guidelines are really, really tight because they're really loose over here now. That's what but
yeah,
back to my original point, if I may just quick wrap up
mhm,
that circle real quick. Growing up where gay was just a general insult, just
mhm,
period. Um, and just like experiencing the moment that one of my favorite things that happened under Obama was don't ask don't tell getting repealed so you could
mhm,
be openly gay in the military and them just the like legalization of same-sex marriage.
yeah,
I was like, are you kidding me? And like, buh? It was beautiful. It was like one of the last times I remember feeling genuinely super fucking hopeful for the
yeah,
world. Like, holy shit, we're actually moving in a good direction. And I lived in Ann Arbor, Michigan at that point, which is another
mhm,
planet. But seeing that, and then again, growing up with the story of Matthew Shepard, and
mhm,
then seeing, you know, a legal gay marriage
yeah,
blew and you can be gay openly gay in the military blew my fucking mind.
yeah. Credit where
um
it's due. Being a millennial doesn't just mean we experience technological change, although that's often where it's defined as. We've experienced a lot of social change in our time on this planet. Like, up and back
I
down
mean
again,
it's
like a goddamn roller coaster.
I mean it's like it's one of those things where there is genuinely so much going on in a certain period. I feel like one of the reasons that our gen you're definitely a millennial. I'm on the cusp. I've got Gen X tendencies. But um the fact that we people treat us like we think we're special snowflakes or whatever, or like we had it so much, like no, we did legitimately have a crazy amount of change happen in our
Yeah.
lifetimes.
Hmm.
Like it wasn't hard uh for them to rewrite we didn't start the fire for just millennial shit, stuff we've seen over the course of our lifetimes.
Yeah. I mean,
Super fucking easy. There's shit that I was like, oh yeah, the first time that I listened to it. And yeah.
yeah, being a millennial
And
sucks.
yet
On to Venezuela.
we all suck. If you play that song update for a boomer, even with the fact that the screen, the album shot for
Hmm.
that will be on your TV if you play it on your TV mentions that it's a cover of a Billy Joel song, they'll tell you that the original
Hmm.
was, theirs and was from Billy Joel, and it's like, I know, we know,
You
we
know,
love you,
We also
It's not the
listen to Billy
form.
Joel. I've been doing, like, as part of some of my just music practice on the side, I've been doing chordal analyses of several Billy Joel tunes. We all know who Billy Joel is.
So yeah,
Um,
so millennials suck, but so does everyone else, you know?
yeah, yeah, and I think, yeah, I don't know what I was going to say. Just it, a lot has changed, and let's talk about Venezuela and Venezuela adjacent bullshit because. What the episode title of this episode was supposed to be, if it hadn't loaded the wrong freaking intro video, is Weapons of Mass Confusion. Because kind of the angle I was looking at for today was to talk about the reclassification of fentanyl and other drugs as weapons of mass destruction in order to justify the outright murder that's been happening. I'm going to slip over to
I
the other.
hadn't heard this yet, so you
You
are
hadn't
getting my
heard
live reaction.
you
Now
hadn't heard
listen
that.
to me.
Yeah, I pulled
Listen.
the political article up so you could see it on the screen, but this was
Oh fuck. Are you
earlier
fucking
this
kidding
week.
me?
Trump declares fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction. There was actually a really
Oh,
cool is
and
probably
going
the
for the
worst,
pharmaceutical companies that make it. We don't get fentanyl from Venezuela.
right? Now
Literally no fentanyl from Venezuela.
there was a really cool bit on the Daily Show that I'll give a lot of credit for. I did not look it up because copyright and shit trying to string stuff together tends to be an
That
issue.
said, oh my god, notice me, senpai. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Notice me, John Stewart Senpai. I talked earlier about how I've been studying Mr. Rogers for my doctoral project. It's about fusing Rogers and Stewart to create a homiletical model. So, he's dead. So if you want to notice me, Senpai, please do. Anyway, they did a really cool bit on the on his show the other day where he basically compared what Trump's doing with Venezuela to the lead up to the war in Iraq following 9/11. It is the same playbook. The same arguments that are happening, Lindsey Graham saying the same stupid bullshit. And to tie it to our earlier conversation, by the way, it ended with this absolutely glorious moment where Jon Stewart kind of basically says, now, this is the point where in early Daily Show, we would have made a joke about Lindsey Graham being secretly gay. But the big difference between these two periods is we don't do that anymore. And it's like that's it. Like that's the joke. Like everything is the same except we're not going to call him secretly gay anymore because that would be stupid.
it is, and at the same time, it's
Hmm.
something that I feel like has become just like super okay in the LGBTQ community, at least at large.
Yeah,
Like,
the whole piece to it,
no,
but you know,
yeah,
um, there is that. But yeah, so we have Trump declaring fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction, trying to change the literal definition of it. Now, at the same time, in the adjacent window, you'll see here I have open from the United Nations
I
Office for
can't see any of
Disarmament
this.
Affairs. I know you can't see it. You can't see it. That's why I'm explaining what's on the screen because I know everybody here can see it, in the chat can see it, but I know that you, my dear co-host, unless you have the window open next to you,
It's literally
can't.
just for me, and yet I wasn't listening. I apologize. Please go forward.
Yeah. Anyway, so the UN Office of Disarmament Affairs, I loaded up their definition of weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction, WMDs, constitute a class of weaponry with the potential to A. Produce in a single moment an enormous destructive effect capable to kill millions of civilians, jeopardize the natural environment, and fundamentally alter the lives of future generations through their catastrophic effects. Cause death or serious injury of people through toxic or poisonous chemicals. Disseminate disease causing organisms or toxins to harm or kill humans, animals, or plants. Deliver nuclear explosive devices, chemical, biological, or toxin agents to use them for hostile purposes or in an armed conflict. Um, so I am in my free time because being a pastor doesn't make me a lot of money. I have taken the side job of doing something a bit more lucrative and being a teacher, which should tell you everything you need to know about my intelligence level, or at least monetarily speaking. But just as an English teacher, my approach to the situation is first to say, okay, if we're going to classify it as a WMD, let's look at the definition of a WMD and how does it fit. Most of these focus on the issue
It
of,
doesn't because of the instantaneous nature
yeah, the
that they're talking
instantaneous
about.
nature. My guess is they're trying to pivot off of that middle piece, cause death or serious injury of people through toxic or poisonous chemicals. Um, No, I'm not a legal scholar. I'm definitely not a UN, an expert in the UN or nuclear disarmament or anything relating to WMDs. But it would appear to me, a layperson whose experience is primarily linguistic in this case, that the focus of the definition of a WMD is on the intentionality of it as a destructive element, particularly in its intent to cause death or permanent injury to individuals within its radius. Now, say what you will about illegal substances like fentanyl, and most of it is and should be bad. The intent of those distributing it illegally is not to kill their users, but to make them live long, happy, addicted lives. But definitionally, it doesn't work. I'm sorry, it just does not work as a definition from a literalist legal perspective. Now, of course, we here at Unfinished Community are many things, but literalists is not one of them, which puts us in the position of saying, okay, he's trying to stretch the definition. What the fuck's he doing? Thoughts from there?
Go ahead. You if you've got more ramble to go off of, you can. But I had thoughts here as well too.
Yeah, I got nothing. I'm just like,
Oh
literally,
yeah,
definitionally, it doesn't work.
then please
Like,
pass the mic.
yeah, literally, definitionally, it doesn't work. It's obvious bullshit. It's clear 1984 levels of doublethink, which I'm going to try to load this next one up as soon as I can too. But oh my God, I got another good example of the
Okay,
1984
I had
doublethink. But you
you
take it away with your
let me
input here.
talk. Let me
Go.
fucking talk. You just said that you don't have anything to say, and I was like, I have something to say, and then you rambled for another 2 minutes.
I do that.
Okay, then listen. Then please let me like get your attention some way. Okay. Anyway, but um, here's me. This is just I'm just some dumbass with an opinion. So let me go ahead and spout this fucking opinion for you. Okay. Let's just say let's separate it from the WMDs thing, and let's say we're gonna that there's a specific like war that we're gonna war on drugs style. We're gonna go after fentanyl specifically. Here's the thing. And I will freely admit that the vast majority of this I know via, again, people presenting this stuff in a comic manner because it's the most palatable way to be able to get it down. The reporting on all of this goes to John Oliver's team. But like if you want to go after fentanyl, you can. It's the call is coming from inside the house, okay? Like then you need to go after the pharmaceutical companies that peddle painkillers and to such an absurd degree that they do that are actually the reason that fentanyl is getting out and around
Yeah.
and getting into people's bodies and absolutely destroying us. Um
Right. And we can comment on the
you
inherent
can't if you
racism.
want to go after it, sure, let's go after it. Let's go after the pharmaceutical companies and when they're I don't disagree with that. Let's go
Yeah.
ahead. I'm not saying that there's law that supports it, but I'm just saying as an individual, that sounds like, okay, fine. A war on drugs against fentanyl, fine. Venezuela has nothing to fucking do with the fentanyl problem. I give it to you.
Yeah, I think you're dead on with that. And I think the piece that we are missing here is that I don't even say missing. The piece that we're kind of avoiding is the inherent racism of making it a foreign problem or a Venezuela problem or a not white people problem. Which again, this roots back to, let's not forget, our boy in the Central Park Five here. This is definitely rooted in the kind of othering and racism here because you're right to identify. Fentanyl is largely produced by pharmaceutical companies. Yes,
Mm,
it is
yeah.
trafficked and somewhat developed by South American cartels, as most drugs are. But in terms of the production of the drug, it is far less there and far more here. If you wanted to take fentanyl off the market, target the pharmaceutical companies who produced that, and oxycodone, and all these other uh, things that were generated over years and years and years to create opiate addictions in the United States. Focus on that shit, which was created by white people for everybody else, and stop trying to make it a South American problem. But of course, that is not what they would like to do because they can't conceive of a world. They, and by they I mean Trump specifically, cannot conceive of a world in which it's not the brown people's fault. So they have to find the right brown people to blow up in order to make it a them problem. And this is, even for the moment, removing the functional cynicism of the fact that they're really just looking for an excuse to go to war. Um,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, like
With
take I'm going to take
with a country that has the most oil reserves of any country on the
yeah.
planet.
Like we all know that that's really underlying, but taking even if that wasn't on the table, the choice here, if they were even still assuming that they're attempting to actually tackle the problem, when we all know the problem is just a pretense. But even if it wasn't a pretense, the reason for making it Venezuela is racism, not practicality. So even their
Yeah.
pretense is flawed, but it is
Yeah.
still very much a pretense. Um, and that's we have here in the chat. Fentanyl is almost exclusively domestic and almost exclusively a market response to the manufactured opiate addiction epidemic, which is
Hmm.
exactly correct. Which was fueled by the forever war in Afghanistan, in which they seized the poppy fields. Like, yeah, there's a whole bunch. Like every single aspect of this traces back to America and its bullshit. Which again, the American circle of life is we did some bullshit and now we have some problems as a result of this bullshit. So let's go blow up some brown people to claim that that will solve the problem, which will give us more bullshit, and then we'll have to repeat.
The number of times that the heard on repeat in my college years voice of George Carlin saying bombing brown people.
Oh yeah.
It's just keeps repeating in my head during this entire conversation. Bombing brown people.
It's
It's what
what
we're
we
best
do.
at.
Yeah,
It's
you
fucking
know,
atrocious.
it is at that. But in the middle of this, and this is another piece that I really want to kind of pivot into as well, is the kind of
I thought we were
1988.
getting better.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we
go ahead.
were for a minute, but now that we're here, we're not. But I do want to kind of pivot into the 1984 dystopia of all of this, particularly as it relates to like information control and media presentation and things like that. Because right now we're at a point where Trump and his administration are effectively just redefining things to mean whatever the fuck they want, because they feel that they can control the narrative, and by controlling the narrative, they can make anything into anything else. And so I'm going to bring this up here because this just happened. And this is from the Independent here. I don't know if you've seen this. I actually just saw this on Reddit this morning while I was taking a bathroom break before
Please
leaving
tell
the
me
house.
because like I'm having the panic reaction. What just happened?
White House adds plaques below Biden and Obama portraits, calling them worst president in American history and divisive, among a great many other things. I'm going to see if I can find in this article. Like these are the actual posted plaques in the White House right now. So, for example, this is the
Why
actual
do we
announce.
professional troll in the White House? This
Oh no! These are the brass plaques under the presidential portraits in the White House, and the people on screen can see this, but for your benefit, I'll read it. This is the one under Biden's, and it reads as follows in brass on a plaque in the White House. I have to stress. Sleepy Joe Biden was, by far, the worst president in American history, taking office as a result of the most corrupt capital E election ever seen in the United States. Biden oversaw a series of unprecedented disasters that brought our capital N nation to the brink of destruction. His policies caused the highest capital I inflation ever recorded, leading the U.S. capital D dollar to lose more than 20% of its value in 4 years. His Green New Scam surrendered American energy dominance, again, all capital letters, and by abolishing the capital southern capital border, like you're capitalizing half the shit here. Biden
Right.
let
Okay.
21,
So that's it.
21 million people from all over the capital W world pour into the United States, including from prisons, jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. His Afghanistan disaster, again, capital, was among the most humiliating events in American history. Again, capitalized. I know I'm driving the point home here, but I'm a fucking English teacher, and this pisses me off on a brass plaque in the White House. Um, resulted in the murder of 13 brave American, okay, capital A American, fine, capital S service members, all one word. Service members is a single word, with many others gravely wounded. Seeing Biden's devastating weakness, Russia invaded Ukraine and Hamas terrorists launched the heinous October 7th attack on Israel. Um, Nicknamed both sleepy and crooked, Joe Biden was dominated by his radical left handlers. um, they and their allies in the fake news media, all caps, attempted to, like, it goes on. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's pissing me off just to do so.
Did
Um,
he just write a truth social post and then decide instead of posting it, he was gonna get it engraved on a plaque and have it installed?
Pretty much.
What
What
did
did
he
he
put
put
under
under
Obama?
Obama?
I'm seeing if I can find it here. It's not. They left
Michelle Obama, Jimmy Kimmel
Obama's.
was such a breath of fresh air.
Let me see if I can find it here. It's not in in that article I was looking at. Maybe the Guardian has a picture of it. Looking for the Obama one. Google image search in a minute. There it is. Okay, so here's the image. There we go. All right, I've got the image up. Let me get it on screen here. All right, so you guys should be seeing this on screen. This is the one under Obama's. Are you ready for this? Yes? No?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go.
go.
Okay. Barack Hussein Obama was the first black president, all caps, a community organizer, one-term senator from Illinois, and one of the most divisive political figures in American history. As president, he passed the highly ineffective, quote, unaffordable, unquote, CARE Act, resulting in his party losing control of both houses of Congress and the election of the largest House Republican majority since 1946. He presided over a stagnant capital E economy, approved the terrible Iran nuclear deal, and signed the one sided Paris Climate Accords, both of which were later terminated by President Donald J. Trump. Under Obama, the ISIS caliphate spread across the Middle East, Libya collapsed into chaos, and Russia invaded and took Crimea in Ukraine, which you notice he also attributed to Biden. He crippled small
Yeah.
business. He crippled small businesses with crushing regulation and environmental red tape, devastated American coal miners, and weaponized the IRS and federal bureaucratic agencies or federal bureaucracies against his political opponents. Obama also spied on the 2016 presidential campaign of Donald J. Trump and presided over the creation of the Russia hoax, the worst political scandal in American history. His handpicked successor, Hillary Rodham Clinton, would then lose the presidency to Donald J. Trump. How about that?
My best thought doing that. Now he has to keep doing the rest of them.
He did.
What?
He did them all. At least as far as I can tell. We go back into the Independent article I had here. Obviously you didn't see that on the screen, but like we've got Reagan, um, Nixon, Ford, and Clinton all on the list here. George H.W. and George W. as well.
Please read me Reagan's, please.
All right, Reagan. We have Ronald. Right off the bat, Ronald Reagan won the Cold War and transformed American politics and the conservative movement. Before entering the White House, Reagan was a Hollywood actor, president of the Screen Actors Guild, governor of California, and for decades, a leading voice in American conservatism. As the president, he enacted tax cuts, presided over a thriving economy, and rebuilt the American military. He survived being shot by an assassin and confronted the Soviet Union with striking moral clarity, labeling it an evil empire and putting unprecedented pressure on the communist menace. Known as the Great Communicator, he was reelected in a landslide in 1984, left office with high approval, having restored national confidence, spirit, and will, all capitalized. And here's the best part. He was a fan of President Donald J. Trump long before President Trump's historic run for the White House. Likewise, President Trump was a fan of his. Oh
I
my
thought
lord.
all of these would see. That
That
almost
almost
sounded
sounded
too competent to be written by him. These all sound like he wrote them because holy
They
cow,
look
the
like it.
first two.
They look like it. Um, yeah, they definitely look like they were written by him. That much I can say for reasonably sure. But yeah,
Are all the rest of them sucking the guys off, or
it is really an issue of which ones you're looking at. Let me see here. Um,
this is I mean, like this is at least crazy shit. This is like this falls a lot more towards like the Zaphod Beeblebrox end of the scale, where it's like, okay, no, this is professional distraction. This is Looney Tune shit.
Now,
That's kind of entertaining, at least.
I'm gonna I'm
This
gonna
is
point
so
out
much better
something.
than bombing Venezuela. Like,
You want something terrifying though, and this is where I'm gonna bring it back to it is as I mentioned, I first found out about this when I was reading it on Reddit this morning, and scrolling through the comments. And again, this is anecdotal; it's not technically fact because I just pulled it up the comments section, and we all know how crazy that shit can be. But there were a number
yeah,
of commentators who were in the comments that were mentioning that they had either shared that with conservative family, or in one case, that they had been to the White House with conservative family and pointed this out. And the family members said, "What? That's just how people talk." And it seems like accurate to me. Like, it seems totally accurate. Um, and setting aside the obviously factually incorrect attributes of it, like just the simple tone and presentation of it screams bias. I mean, one of the comments I read simply said that a family member had said, "What? That's how adults talk." And I just,
because we've got a whole lot of people, largely from a given generation, well, a couple of given generations, that feel that people who are different than they are aren't adults.
yeah.
To come around to that toxic masculinity bullshit again,
hmm
too.
Well, it's that
Like
it's that old,
you want to be smart. What are you, gay? Like, like
oh, the anti-intellectualism is strong, and it's, yeah. No, it's there's also that old comment too that's kicked around online, but was present well before that. The differing definitions of respect. Respect means treat you like a person or treat you like an authority, and a lot of the people on this side are saying, treat me like an authority or I won't treat you like a
I won't
person, which
treat you like
is
a person. Yeah,
what we're
yeah. There's
getting
a
from the
lot of
White
that.
House here, and that's
Well, and to be
that.
fair, again, like none of this shit springs like
No,
unformed out of the ground. I think we are largely, again, I'm afraid to even say the term boomer because baby boomer. Is that okay? Because I know people from that generation who really take that hard. Like, they seem, to my understanding, have been raised by a severely, like, internally traumatized generation of people. Like, we're all dealing with our own parents' bullshit. Like, and it's not their fault because they were dealing with it. It's all complicated, and we're all as a species, as a people, as a family of human beings trying to get better at being human beings.
Yeah.
It, everybody fucks up. Like we said, it said earlier in the show, millennials suck, but so does everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, I hope that I have the opportunity to apologize for like my parenting being super fucking backward when like Maya's got kids 20 years from now and is like, "Hey mom, this was really fucked up." I hope that great. That means that they've figured out a way to do something better than we had figured out now.
I'll say
Please.
don't bother to wait. I apologize for my parenting to my kids whenever I think I've screwed up. Like it was just
Oh yeah, yeah,
fairly
no,
often.
same.
Like
And I'm sure there's stuff that I'm not even catching.
yeah, yeah,
So
that's true. Same here. Yeah. No,
there are so many things that like if they're going to start classifying weapons of mass destruction as things that take apart our society and reconstruct it in like unrecognizable and unwanted ways to the point where like okay you're getting real philosophical with it, sure, but go ahead. Fentanyl, like there's a lot of things to combat and I don't think they want to face it because toxic masculinity and like uh
I'm
normalizing
gonna put it
shitty
to you this way. Give me a definition that allows for the inclusion of fentanyl in weapons of mass destruction that does not also allow for the inclusion of conservative political ideologies in the same definition. I don't believe there is one. Like the exact same
yeah.
arguments apply, and
Well, and
that's.
if you're taking intention out of the equation too,
Mhm.
then it also becomes a matter of, there are so many things that are beneficial in a certain amount and severely damaging in other amounts. Like you're talking about taking Flintstones vitamins off the shelves. You can't just sit and eat like a whole container of those. You'll fricking kill yourself. And we give them to kids because they're good at the right
Have
amount.
we forgot about RFK? Like he actually wants to do stuff like that because he's got that
That's
very.
fucking mental though. If they actually go like full bore behind that sort of a concept, that the society will fall apart. You'll remove like everything that's holding us together. So much of what people need and can use in a therapeutic way can be overdosed. Hilariously, weed should be fine.
And that I think right there we have the core of why it's being done because it's the stuff that holds us together. This government and the people who espouse this kind of ideology, they don't want us to have stuff that keeps us healthy and stable and functioning and together because when we are healthy and stable and functioning together, we ain't got time for their bullshit. But when we are desperate and confused and starving and unable to make it through the day, then we don't have time to fight their bullshit and we got to deal with problems closer to home. And that's where they want us. They want us dealing with survival so that we don't notice that they're the ones keeping us in survival mode.
Man.
Which of course brings us to the big concluding part of our wonderful little program here. The fuck we gonna do about it?
Dude, I don't know. Like the thing that has kept me from like mentally diving off a cliff has basically been the idea that you frankly introduced on camera here, I don't know, a month or so, couple months ago maybe, that like no, we can't affect like large scale change on our own or even in groups most of the time, but we can love our neighbor, we can take care of the people who are nearby, we can help people organize in whatever ways benefit our communities. We can uplift one another. We can
Mm.
follow the instruction to uh, like love one another as God loves us.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take that one step further, and I'm going to say the sort of shit that would probably get me arrested if I were still within the United States.
I'm
But
still here. Please. No, I know I can't get on an airplane or anything, but like, yeah, go ahead, I
yeah,
guess. For a penny, for a pound.
mutual aid, and we talked about this on an earlier program too. Mutual aid needs to go one step farther for churches, or those at least with access to church level resources and space. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. We talked about the need to grow vegetables and to create housing support and to muster clothes and stuff like that. But like we are reaching, I'm not saying we're necessarily there yet, but we are reaching a point where some of our larger community organizations should start to realize that the same kind of you know they're generally a good person, but they're definitely a meth addict. People in your community that are running their own meth lab in the back of a trailer up north. Uh, Probably could also brew their own homemade Adderall and shit like that. You've probably got professional chemists in your community that could, with the right resources, make the drugs that people aren't getting access to anymore.
Oh
Like, I
my
mean,
God.
put your meth addicts to work. Like, for God's sake, we're gonna. I mean, I don't think we're there yet, but like, if things continue along this course of action, I am a big believer in the one-stop shopping of the church community. We're going to have to be self-sufficient for a minute here. If the government continues to function the way it is, we're going to need to be self-sufficient for a while. If the government collapses, we're going to have to be self-sufficient for a while. If change happens, if the next election actually happens and progressives sweep the nation, we're still going to have to be self-sufficient for a while because putting the brakes on a system like this does not happen overnight. So we may not quite be to churches running meth labs in their basement to create life-saving drugs for their congregants, but we are worryingly close to that being a good call. Um,
You should ask, they just, I don't know if I should say this on camera, but what the hell? Should check in with Steve and find out what kind of baseline equipment he needs to be able to synthesize a reasonable range of necessities. Like,
yeah, like we're all going to have to look into the people in our community who shall not be named who have those skills. But what I am saying
I'm
largely is
talking
that
about being able to make aspirin and shit.
yeah,
Ah,
well,
like,
exactly, right. And that's kind of my larger point. Like I make the joke about like fucking meth and Adderall and shit, but like all of this is going to need to be home brewed. Some of that's easier than others. And, for our witchy friends out there, some of you may have access or knowledge of some of the older things from which the modern day treatments are derived. It's not my area of expertise per se, but our witchy
it's one
friends
of my
are
interests, though. I've made
yep,
my own medicine.
yep. Yeah, native friends as well have some background in that as well. I know native culture's got a lot of kind of more traditional stuff. I will admit, from exposure to it, less convinced that Asian medicine has as much legitimacy to it because I've seen some of the stuff that's involved in Asian medicine out here, and I have concerns. But I'm sure there's stuff in there as well. But nevertheless, like most of our, and this is something
Ginseng
any,
is legitimately great.
yeah, no arguing that. But my point being, like most of our modern medicines are derived from like ancient plant-based treatments that we've just kind of like hyped up and consolidated and amplified. So if you have that knowledge, right now we are at a point in our society, particularly in the post aftermath of anti-intellectualism, where the knowledge that you have could save lives. And we need to bring them together into community settings and start trying to put them into organized use. Because the whole point of having a society, indeed of having a government, is to take that knowledge and make it available to everyone. And the current administration is doing the opposite of that. They're trying to destroy that knowledge and the access to it in the interest of maintaining control. So it has to be on us to begin consolidating that knowledge to Library of Alexandria this shit a little bit, or the opposite of that.
Yeah, the opposite of that. You have to say, speaking of which, support your public library in every way possible. Like, you don't really have time to read. Doesn't matter. You know, look up a reading list of stuff that you'd like to read, and check that out. And when you don't get round to reading it in a couple of weeks or whatever, turn it back in. It helps their numbers. Like anything, anything you can do to help out your local
Yeah,
public library, because that is an institution that for a long time, as someone who is a like self-identified democratic socialist, like I've pointed to the public library system and been like, so this is evil? This is something you don't approve of happening? This is a bad part of our society? Because this is absolutely the kind of thing that we're talking about. But we are so far into the upside down at this point that like now I'm worried about public libraries because they are an example of like socialism in action working.
yeah. Now,
Um,
one count. I'm not going to say counterpoint to that because I agree with absolutely everything you've just said. We are also at the rapid decline into fascism. So, like, yes, support your public library as much as you can, comma, well you can, because they are going to wind up on the chopping block one way or the other, whether it's just being cut off entirely by the administrations or whether it is ideological interference, which we're already seeing happen in a lot of places where libraries are being forced to get rid of books that are anti-American or what have you. So there is interference even already happening. So there is some care that should be
oh no, I
paid.
will go straight old school. I will go straight old school activist with that. I will chain myself to the goddamn library if I have to. Um,
Yeah, speaking of chaining people to stuff, I was just reading the other day about, I forget exactly where it was, a whole bunch, an entire interfaith clergy organization got arrested for chaining themselves together to block entrance to the courthouse so that people about to be arrested by ICE could escape.
good trouble.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Although I gotta warn you, my colleagues out there, we have often taken advantage of the fact that our clerical collar gives us some degree of shield. That shield don't work anymore. They are shooting us in the face and they're dragging us off to jail just like everyone else now. Um,
But everybody can still see it, and some
oh
people's
yes,
brains will, like, you may not notice, but your brain did.
yeah. The
Like,
visibility of it is stupidly important. Like if you are clergy,
optics.
if you're clergy out there, you should be robe and stoling it, if or at the very least clergy collaring it every time you are out there fighting the fight, because like so much of this violence has been associated falsely with the Christian religion. Now, again, the whole other discussion here about what Christianity does have to answer for, but this shit ain't come from us. It's wearing our freaking vestments like a skin suit. It's like Buffalo Bill religion.
Oh yeah.
And like so we need to be out there doing the right thing so that the opposite example is visible. Um,
Yeah.
so in
Well,
any
and
case,
frankly,
no,
just like talking to activists, I had the pleasure of working with a First Nations woman who was uh, like wore a big old Antifa logo that covered half her backpack, and like was like awaiting trial for the water defense, being a water defender, like legit activism. And she was the
mm,
one who told me that like optics are super important.
yeah,
Like wear stuff that makes people look and see the people who are standing up for this.
yeah.
Like does it look good?
And the thing is, and this is a simple tactical note. Dr. King knew it, Gandhi knew it. Others who have been operating from minority positions fighting a vastly superior force have always known it, is that when you are in an oppressed position, you do not win a conflict through force of arms. You win a conflict through force of moral and through force of ethics and through force of emotion. Like you're the only weapon you have is your suffering. You're going to lose every conflict you go to. So you have to lose in such a way that it gums up the machinery so that eventually somebody wins. Now, Dr. King and Gandhi, of course, being famous for doing that in terms of nonviolent protest, but the overall tactic of what was involved, and adopted by any number since then. It simply is exactly that. You're not going to win by fighting back. You're going to win by losing correctly with good optics, good visibility, and most importantly, compassionate and loving morals throughout. You got to look like the good guy, even as you're getting your ass kicked. And yes, I do see that comment in the quotes, clergy are the Jedi. And I'm trying very, very hard not to get into another hour-long discussion about how Jedi philosophy in the movies is drawn almost exclusively from the prayers and institutes of the Jesuits of the Catholic Church. The Jesuit order is very, very, very much the basis for the Jedi Order. So yes, I do in fact consider myself kind of like an off-brand Jedi, like Jedi from Wish, so I'll take it.
How Jedi'd up can we make your vestments?
They're basically there already. But the thing is, I'm going to answer that question legitimately because I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about it. And the only reason I hadn't is because I didn't want to spend more church money when we're kind of tight on budget. But I do
But
need
a
to replace
Sunday,
my, I do
I'm
need to
running the
actually
show
replace,
right now.
well, I do have to replace my robe because it's very old. It was given to me by a retired Episcopalian priest who gave it to my parents to give it to me when I got ordained. And it's nice, but it's like 70 or 80 years old and is kind of nearing the end of its lifespan. Those things hold up for a long time if well treated, though. I'll grant them that. But yeah, like Catholic robes and like look at the Catholics. They wear all sorts of Jedi looking shit. In fact, one of the things I've always wanted to do, but have kind of shied away from doing because I'm able to find a way to work it structurally or without looking like some of the crassest cultural appropriation in white communities, is take like a solid black like kimono type thing and repurpose that into a preaching robe. Um, but again, it's worth understanding when it comes to vestments too, is that the robe is the sign of educational authority and the stole is the sign of religious authority. So, like in terms of symbolism, if you get too far from looking away from an academic robe, it kind of loses that point. But then again, we're Protestants. We can wear what the fuck we want, as most Protestant pastors do. Um, and the stole's the thing anyway, as far as the religious authority goes. So yeah, I could go on to Temu today, buy an Anakin Skywalker Dark Jedi Halloween costume, wrap myself up in that shit, and throw a stole over it, and be fine. If I wanted to, there's not a rule that prevents me from doing that. I might get the occasional look from my pastoral colleagues, but not a damn thing they can do about it. I could walk up there, lightsaber in hand, and as long as I didn't start cutting people down, they couldn't do nothing about it.
Can you incorporate a hood into the stole?
Fun fact, both hoods and capes are actually part of academic regalia. In point of fact, this right here, hanging behind me, is my academic hood. Um,
Nice.
I don't actually wear it all that much, but yes, you could very easily build in both hood and cape. In fact, one of my mentors slash heroes, Johann Symington, he was the pastor of Tokyo Union Church for some years, and also he was the director of communications for the Dutch Reformed Church when they passed the Belhar Confession in South Africa. So kind of a big guy in terms of name. He had, and I've never forgotten this, he had a very standard robe that also had a built-in half cape around the whole thing. And it was the most badass thing. Like old school Dutch style. But yeah, you can definitely, there are a lot of cool variants to clerical wear out there. I just have never had the time or the money to fancy it up beyond what I already have.
I'm getting so many cool ideas for drawing. I feel like I want to sketch out um a series of Jedi clerical robes and stoles and shit. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you sketch something out and it works and you want some measurements and want to make one and send it to me, I'll wear it.
I do need to learn to I'm planning on and once probably sometime in January trying to learn to use my sewing machine properly.
Yeah.
Uh
Same, actually. I have a sewing machine too I need to start using.
but that's fucking amazing. Yeah, I'm getting ideas.
Oh, thank you for that. And thank you, I think it's Erica who put that idea out there in the chat. So thank you for that. All right. So
Hmm.
I think we've been at this for a solid hour and 12 minutes now, which is one of our longer videos. But it turns out we had a lot to say, so I'll take it.
And surprisingly little of it was directly about Venezuela.
Well,
Probably because Probably because it has nothing to fucking do with us. Like Venezuela has its own issues it's dealing with right now.
yeah,
Big ones.
they're a
None of them
convenient target.
have anything to do with us except for have we fucked with Venezuela historically at some point? I'm sure we have.
I mean, everybody in South America, we have one way or the other. Like that's just the thing.
Yeah, Central
So
America too. You can just check them off a list. It's
yeah,
so
no,
fucked up.
we filled out the bingo card. We got everybody down there, in one way or the other. Uh, in fact, I don't think there's a single country in the world we haven't fucked with in one way or another. But right now, like they're not doing anything actively towards us. And this it also suffers somewhat from Trump's deliberate conflation of cartel and gang activity with the legitimate government of countries to generate an excuse. Like
Hmm.
it'd be the same as say, oh, I don't know, Japan suddenly declaring war on America because a couple of Crips and Bloods got into a fight in Tokyo. Like, all right, what? Like that ain't come from us. What the hell?
That's mental.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that was confusing for those of you younger listeners who might not know anything about the gangs of the '90s, but you know what? It is what it is. I think they're still around though. But what do I know? I'm a white guy from Michigan. So that said, I think we are to the end of our time here. So I'm
Oh,
gonna
I can do a cool old people thing.
what? Oh Lord, I haven't seen that in a while. What is that?
Hang on.
It looks like
Oh,
almost looks. I feel like I've seen that
is it
before.
reversed for you?
It might be.
Okay, hang on a second. Let me. Blood.
Okay, I think I get what's happening there. I got it. Got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
The thing,
Yeah.
the sort of things you learn in the sort of things you learn in middle school as a elder millennial.
Yeah, now putting that on a public video is almost certainly going to get you on a couple of government watch lists these days. But hey, I'm pretty sure we're both on a few of them already. Um,
Yeah, I don't look forward to the next time that I need to use an airplane.
me neither.
And
Oh God.
it's just for using my big mouth, man. And not even in the kind of way that an airplane should worry about. I'm not going to Karen out on somebody on there. I just assuming that they're
Yeah.
not like, hitting a child for being gay or something. Then you'll see me. Ugh.
If only we lived in a country where they had freedom of speech. Oh wait.
Fucking
Shit.
hell.
All right. So being at the end of our time here, the usual updates, of course, for folk. Got a whole bunch of stuff going on here at the church. If you are local to us, please come hang out, sign up for some of the classes. Folks online too. Like I've posted our class schedules and stuff online. I know it's late night for some of y'all, but they are also available online if you want to take them. Japanese classes, English classes, even a music theory class. They are cheap as hell too, especially the end of dollar rate right now, and it's one of the few ways we actually can fund this operation we've got going on here. So you want to join in on some of that stuff, it'd be great. We got Christmas Eve coming up this year, and of course, Christmas. Funny, they seem to happen every year. Don't know why that is. But 24th is Christmas Eve. We're going to be having our Christmas Eve service here at the church. It will be the last Christmas that we spend in this building because the new building is coming along extremely well. If you haven't checked on the Discord server, I've been posting the occasional update pictures and even the occasional video. It's wild how quickly and well it's coming along. Uh, But so yeah, so we're gonna have Christmas Eve on the 24th. For those of you on the American side of the world, I will apologize in advance. The timing is going to be just horrible for you because it's Christmas Eve. Like shit, I can do about the timing for an evening service. We're having a 4 o'clock potluck and a 5:30 service out here, which would equate to a 2 a.m. potluck and a 3:30 a.m. worship service. So I'm assuming most of you all out in the East Coast of the United States will probably be catching that one on the replay later on.
Don't give me that shit. I don't know. Some of us out here have kids and will probably be wrapping presents still.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. If you are up at 3:30 in the morning on the East Coast wrapping presents and you want to come to church, then by all means click on over to YouTube. We'll be doing the thing. I am hoping, but not promising, because there's still a few logistical hurdles to work out, that we may even have a brief separate kind of little candlelight vigil in the construction site uh,
Ooh,
as part of the service. And I'm going to attempt to live stream that as well. Although I might have to do a separate live stream of that at the beginning, followed by the service, just simply because I don't think the cords will stretch far enough to go from one building to the other yet. Um, So that is on the plan. We are going to have, I will readily admit, because I'm juggling some kind of local business as well. Um, we are going to have a very fairly quiet rest of the month of December and into the January. But we're going to be picking stuff up again mid-January, really trying to get things going. We have a bunch of behind the scenes projects that we're working on, including our Substack. We're working on a devotional project, a couple of other things that will be slightly monetized because, again, church is under capitalism. I have to apologize repeatedly. We need to find ways to make money. But as with everything that comes out of this church, if you want it but can't afford it, just give one of us a call and we'll make it happen. Um,
yeah.
so there's that. And of course, if you guys are wondering what you can do to help us continue to do this shit that we are doing, there's really two things I can mention. One, of course, is if you are a financially gifted person or simply have the ability to do so, please do. Churches often collect tithes, which I know makes a lot of us kind of get our hackles up, but think of us like PBS, and viewers like you are the only reason we keep going. So there is a donation link, should be down in the description, assuming I did it right and didn't run into any other problems. If you're physical, of course, you can come into the church. If you're local, you can come, just drop stuff off with us too. If you have some other way you want to send stuff to us, that's fine. But if that is not your gift, you can participate in the Discord server. You can join the church as a member, which is something we have now because we are a legitimate, actual, honest to God church, even though we're mostly in the digital space. If you want to do that, come talk to me. Like the more the merrier. That helps us do business. But if nothing else, one of the most helpful things you can do is to help get this stuff out in front of people by doing what Courtney always tells us to do.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, that thing, please. One of these days, I'm going to put a little animation that pops up every time we do that. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I swear I will. Like some kind of cutesy little animation. But for now, please, yeah, like the more you share these videos out and put them in front of people, the more people see it, the more helpful it is to us. So please help us out if you can. But most importantly, join us on Discord, be part of the community, be part of the conversation, and have a great week, all y'all. And we'll catch you next week. Is supposed to be Bible study, but I have to point out because I know that some of you following in the chat are also our Bible study folk. Today is here in Japan, December the 18th, and so next week will be December the 25th. So I think I am safe to say Bible study's not happening next week. I'm very sorry.
No.
It's going to be Christmas, and I'm
Watch a
going to be
rerun.
yeah, watch a rerun. Well, like the Bible study's the live one. That's where we do that on the Discord server. So that yeah, watch reruns of Back to Basics. Rewatch this program. Uh, like, share, subscribe, do other stuff. We're not turning up for Bible study on Christmas Day. I'm sorry, or Christmas Eve for you folks on the East Coast. So yeah, watch the Christmas Eve service. Do that instead. But
You can
I
always
am
just
very
simulate it. You can always just simulate it at home. Go outside to like at your Christmas gathering. Just go outside, take a big old hit off a pen, come in, plop down next to your conservative uncle, and tell him that Jesus was trans.
Yeah,
You get
that'll do
better.
it. That'll do it. And for those of you who don't know our community, it's true. Have fun with that. Anyway, yeah. So have a great week. We will catch you on the next live stream, which will be not actually sure. Um,
What, like New Year's
Probably
Day?
we do it every 2 weeks, but 2 weeks from now is New Year's Day, so I'm going to go ahead and say probably not again. It will be in
We'll see.
January, and that's as far as I'm going to go for now because scheduling is a bitch.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All
So
right.
we'll see y'all around sooner or later. Feliz Navidad and all that. Peace.
Happy Merry Happy Christmas. Bye.
Bye.